concerned when we talk about the halal status. The halal poultry is imported, it is halal, and the basic issue is with an issue of contamination. The question cannot be answered unless we have a context and an understanding of what we are talking about. Comparing Orion to a factory that processes meat is like comparing your chicken pie distribution center or your spa distribution center to a factory that makes monkey nuts. It is not the same. And therefore, Orion Cold Storage is a cold storage that operates under minus 30 to 40 degrees. In its concrete foundations, it has heaters that prevents the floor from cracking due to the extreme cold. It has a movable racking system that has a capacity of hundreds of tons, and everything is stored in a certain place. And what are we talking about? We're talking now about chicken. Where is this chicken? This chicken is wrapped in plastic. Those plastics are wrapped in insulated boxes. Those boxes are packed on pallets. Those pallets are shrink wrapped in plastic. Those pallets are put together and filled in a container. So therefore, when that sealed chicken in that plastic, in the cardboard, in the pallet, shrink wrapped in the container lands at our porch, we check it. When it has been checked and it has now gone to the cold storage, it is stored. There is a Muslim lady that is in charge of the storage. A picking slip is then generated so that we know where it is stored. This is under a cold chain. It is frozen, it cannot be unfrozen and cannot be processed in any way. Therefore, once that product is then passed on, not to a retailer, not to a takeaway, it's passed on to either a wholesaler or somebody who's going to process those meats and make whatever products they want, not to the retailer. It is usually sold in its pallets, if not the full container. So basically it's like taking ice, sealed 3 times, something in your freezer, sealed 3 times, and passing it on to the next person. So then no question remains, was there any contamination? Why did that chicken touch anything else which was not halal? And was there any mix-up with regards to that? So we understand that the product itself is almost under 3 layers of insulation. It is in plastic, it is in cardboard, it is in the pallet is shrink wrapped. It is not carried by hand even. Those pallets are then lifted by his heister, put into the racking, taken out by means of heister, loaded onto the trucks by means of heister. It is all under the 20-30 degree barrier, and then it is passed on to either the wholesaler or passed on to those who are then going to process that meat. And this is something which our community has either not been informed about or misinformed about. And whether we like it or not, this is the kind of misperceptions that have been created in the community. And with respect, we have to understand, if a question comes out that, or a statement is made, no matter how unjustifiable, no matter how much ignorance there is in it, no matter how much of malice there is in it, that a Muslim body of integrity, of ulama, that has a history of serving the Muslim community, have now been accused of, or the understanding has been created, or the misperceptions have been had, that they have been knowingly selling pork to Muslim consumers. Once that perception has been created, we have to eradicate, annihilate, and destroy that misconception, that misperception, and that misunderstanding. It is very, very important. So keeping all those in mind, looking at the facts on the ground, understanding the process, what that cold storage is, its capacity, the degrees it operates on, how it is brought in, the checks and balances, the picking slip, how it is distributed, where there is no processing, no opening, all those, keeping all those in mind, the MJC Halaal Trust assures the Muslim community and all the media present here that those consignments which were certified by the Muslim Judicial Council Halaal Trust, from the time it landed in port to the distribution center, from the distribution center to the meat processor or to the wholesaler, has been certified as halal and is indeed halal, and no cross-contamination at all had taken place.
That is an explanation, of course, of the standards and the procedures as explained by Maulana Abdul Fattah. If, of course, Orion as the epicenter of where the so-called criminal act and labeling and fraudulent process, we are not here today to speak in defense of Orion. Of course, that is a criminal process, and of course, the law will prove at the end of the day who is guilty and who is not guilty. I am so happy today, in fact, the success of this press conference is that the representative of Third Degree and ETV has clearly spelled out that it has never been the assumption that the Muslim Judicial Council, as a religious authority, does not understand the question of halal and haram, and would never ever it is not only a constitutional principle in the constitute of the MJC, but it is a Quranic, Shari'i principle that it can never be imagined that an ulama body of such nature will certify pork as halal and allow it to be consumed by the Muslim community. So that leaves the space for anybody that wants to involve himself or herself in a criminal process can mastermind and manipulate any possible loophole that that person discovers in the process.